Good morning. Welcome to today's live. Hope you guys are having a great Friday so far. Every Friday, we have made it through another week and really exciting. We are actually making some changes to the podcast. Let me see if I can get this sorted. We got a double cam on both Facebook and on. Harry, it's alternating. That's really distracting. Why? There we go. Now we're in sync. There we go. Welcome. Sorry, guys, just getting the double camera sorted. Today, we are talking about the 5 non-negotiables every leader must have. And just to give a bit of context, things that we're going to be going through right now is how you can actually build your team. If you guys are in a senior management role or looking to get into a senior management role, or you're looking to get into a leadership role, you're entry level and you want to progress within your career, being able to have leadership skills and managing a team, managing people is imperative to your career development. I used to think that if you're good at your job, then all you need is just be better at your job to progress. However, that's not usually the case. You actually need to learn how to manage people. And these are the 5 non-negotiables that I have learned over the years that have allowed me to build the team. Because the truth is, your team doesn't rise to your goals. They actually sink to your standards. And discipline isn't about motivation. It's about having non-negotiables when no one is watching. So today we're going to be breaking down your 5 non-negotiables that you need as a leader. And I'm also going to go through mistakes that most leaders make that they don't typically tell you about, because this really causes their team to crumble. And what we really want to do is we want to start learning how to build trust within yourself and building trust within your team. Very important. So without further ado, let's get into today's episode. And really what I want you to get out of this is 1, the 5 takeaways, but 2, learn how to lead with conviction, purpose, and intent. And I promise you, these are things that has costed me literally almost $200,000 to learn. So give you a bit of context. In 2022, I actually lost my team. We had a team of 6 coaches and everything felt like it could go no wrong. We were running team meetings. Everyone was happy, achieved championship, had a lot of momentum, a lot of hype. Everyone knew about us. We were growing so quickly. Even these daily lives, we had a lot of people tuning in. And the next thing I knew, everyone left. Because the truth was, what happened? I didn't treat them very well. I didn't really understand what it meant to be a leader. No one taught me what it meant to be a leader. I was part of some mentorships and they just taught me to treat my team as like they were disposable. Of course, it wasn't their intention, but the truth is no one really knows how to, well, not no one, but not many people actually know how to teach someone actually how to be a leader, because there are people that are in leadership roles that might not deserve to be in leadership roles, or they don't have the skills to be able to bring out the best in people. But that moment where I lost my team was everything. It was the most valuable moment in my life because it taught me such an incredible lesson that I will never forget. And it made me reflect. It made me reflect on how I should treat my team, how I should be as a leader, as a person, and what it really means to be a leader. When I was younger, I played Counter-Strike. And when you play Counter-Strike, you can play part of a team. And I wanted to lead a team. When you ask me why, I don't know. Maybe because of power, maybe because of control. Growing up with ADHD, I didn't have a lot of friends. And so games for me was really just a sense of belonging. It was being part of a collective, feeling accepted, feeling validated. I didn't have much value to provide. And I felt like maybe being a leader gave me some kind of control and made me feel accepted. It's guaranteed that you accept something that you lead. But because I didn't know how to lead a team, I didn't know how to bring out the best in people, eventually all those teams failed, just like with everything else that I did in my life. And after every single time I would reflect back and I just pondered, are some people just destined to be leaders while others are destined to be followers? Can you turn a follower into a leader? And you might be able to hear Crunchy in the background. He's going a little bit crazy. But the crazy thing was, I wasn't always a leader and now I'm in this rare position, and I'm just reflecting back that I've now become the main character of my story. I have the car of my dreams, I have the girl of my dreams, I have the job, I have the penthouse. And when I speak around a group, people listen. And I never felt heard before. And it's such an interesting position to be in because it's a rare privilege. It's an honor. And with great power comes great responsibility. So now it becomes my moral duty to teach you guys how you can replicate this. And so when I lost that team, it took me years to actually rebuild. And I looked back at everything that I did and I got feedback. And the feedback that I got, one of the guys in the team is actually my cousin-in-law. And I went to his bucks party and he called me a dictator. I wasn't good at regulating my emotions. I took out my anger and frustrations on my team. I expected them to operate at a standard that I didn't give them the proper training or the support. And I practically made them do the impossible. It was because I started getting them to do the things that I didn't want to do. If you guys know anything about this industry, it's about generating leads, finding more leads, people that you can talk to, and they eventually sign on to become a client. And Hang and I weren't generating a lot. And so we figured, okay, maybe if we build a team, everyone can actually leverage each other's networks. And so I was technically asking them something to do. I was asking them to do something that I wasn't good at yet. And this is the mistake that I see right now with a lot of offer owners. They don't like DM setting, so they hire a DM setter. Like in some cases, it can work. But unless you become good at it yourself, you don't have KPIs, you don't have benchmarks, you don't have the tools to actually support your team on an ongoing basis, and that team member becomes sticky. You become over-dependent on them. And what happens if they leave? Things happen. People move on. And in your team, if you love your team enough, you need to allow them to let them go. You need to allow them to spread their wings. And that is very painful. It is also why in a lot of relationships, people bring a lot of baggage, this insecurity, because they utilize that relationship as the external to fill the internal void. They don't have the ability to make themselves happy, so they put that responsibility on someone else. They turn to that someone for comfort, and that's why these relationships don't work. Most relationships fail, and even most marriages end in divorce. Over 51%. Crazy. And so leadership and running a team and having a relationship is very similar. It starts with you and your internal. So here are 5 non-negotiables that I think every leader needs. And if you were to implement this, you're going to be able to lead an amazing team. Your team are going to want to fight for your vision. You guys have a vision together. You guys are going to be able to work together. And you've got to be able to bring out the best in people. And I think that's what true power is. When it comes to leadership, you can either devalue those around you, bring them down to make you feel better, or you can bring them up. And when you bring them up, you bring out the best side of them and you guys create a greater work output. I believe that is true power. That is an incredible amount of power. It's like the Midas touch. But instead of everything you touch turn into gold, everything you touch turns positive. Okay, so non-negotiable number 1 is never ask your team to do something that you wouldn't otherwise do. Leadership is really mastering the learning process and then skill transfer. If you're asking your team to do something you wouldn't do, then it's almost hypocritical. You're handing them things that are undesirable and you're expecting them to operate. You're expecting them to do something that you would not want to do. And they can feel that in the way that you speak to them, in the way that you teach them, in the way that you guide them. And so the first step is mastering that skill long enough so that you can skill transfer that. And that's not to say you're not allowed to hate what you do or you're not allowed to not like it. But the truth is most people hate the things that they're not good at. It's hard to hate the things that you're good at. And in terms of developing your passion, you need to do the thing that's not fun long enough until you get good at it and then you enjoy it and then you can teach someone how to do it. Just like with sales. You can hire a sales team, but how do you delineate what's a good lead and what's a bad lead? You have to do the sales yourself. You have to bake out that process, master it, and then teach someone how to replicate that. and then you can guide and you can support them along the way. And because they've seen you do it, you lead through example. Number 2, clear communication and expectations. And this includes putting in the time and the effort to building standard operating procedures, also known as SOPs, but having clear actionable steps and behaviors for someone to replicate. So I got this from Alex Hormozi, a guy that I really look up to. I'm sure some of you guys might know him. He talks about these amorphous terms that we use. For example, someone might not show up on time, and then you berate them, you get angry at them, and you say you're not accountable. Well, what does that actually mean? Being accountable is a description you use to describe a series of behaviors, maybe showing up late or not attending meetings or having to be followed up. So now you got to reverse engineer it. Understand that, okay, something in the business didn't happen the way that you want. Now you need to break down exactly what it is and what you expect and what they should do next time. So instead of just using these vague description adjectives, you're clear on what they need to do. Hey, next time, if you know that you're going to be late, make sure you notify the team. If you're not able to attend a meeting, at least give us 24 hours notice. And if you're not able to complete your project in time, just shoot us an update so that we know what the next steps and expectations are. Clear communication. Same thing with the job or the task that you are assigning them. Make sure you have a clear step-by-step procedure with contingency plans, with FAQs, so they can follow those instructions long enough until they can master that process themselves. And with clear communication, it also means that you are not being vague in how you describe your emotions and your interactions. And Einstein says that you don't truly understand something unless you're able to explain it simply. So again, it comes back to number 1 is mastering the process of learning and then skill transfer. Number 3, emotional regulation. Having empathy and asking yourself, is how I'm going to react going to move us forward or backwards? I don't think I shared this on live. A few months ago, we had a client that asked for a refund. This guy was a great client. He had some limiting beliefs that I was able to help walk him through, and he knew that this was the right move for him. I asked him, Jake, previously, you've been stuck at these uncomfortable decisions and it's costing you some opportunities. What do you think you should do moving forward to make sure you don't miss it? He said, I'm going to have to think about my future. To look back to say, is the future version of me going to regret this? And I don't think I'm going to regret this because it's a learning process. I'm like, I agree. So we move forward. A few weeks in, he makes great progress and it kind of falls off. And this girl that he liked, they weren't even dating, he just likes this girl. I think he confessed his feelings and emotions to her. She rejected him and he started crashing out. Then he said he didn't want to do the program anymore. Now, who am I to be, how would I be a coach if I allowed him to buy into that story and that excuse and that limiting belief? Because those two things are mutually exclusive. It shouldn't have changed his decision to move forward the program or commit to himself. It actually, if anything, it actually reinforces and validates why she should not see value in him. Because he's not willing to work on his internal. He's not a leader in his own life. And so he asked for a refund with Nelson, one of the support coaches on our team. Nelson's a great guy. So when handling that situation, he said, hey, that's okay. Despite Jake signing an agreement saying there's no cancellations or no refunds, and that's a feature. We have a story of Adrian, who because of that agreement has allowed himself to stay locked in. He's so appreciative. And guys like Adrian remind us that it's just like rehab. You don't check in and out like it's a hotel. You do the full treatment. Then you come out on the other side. Anything less is doing them a disservice. And so Nelson, being a great guy, wasn't his place to handle this situation, would have been mine. But on that phone call, he agreed to the refund. And when Nelson came to me with that, of course, I wasn't happy. Because these decisions cost us a lot. And if we're just going to be handing that out, there's going to be a big portion of our revenue that's the effort that we're putting in, our intellectual property, we build a program, we put in this effort, we put in this commitment, only for people to just decide that they don't want to do it. So that's me being transparent. If you guys join any of these programs, it's going to be the exact same thing. And so with that situation, I had to try to light up the fire with Jake. He already made up his mind and he was just crashing out. He just wasn't listening. It was a tough conversation. And so when I spoke to Nelson about it, he told me, hey, this is what Jake said. He expressed that he wanted to refund, and Nelson made an executive decision that wasn't his place. And I got really upset because something similar happened a few weeks ago and he said the exact same thing. And I felt my emotions rising, my temper, and in my previous experiences, I may have said things that I might not have meant. And I knew that in that moment, I just wanted him to feel the hurt that I was feeling. Because when we do the refund, it comes out of my bank account. Or the business's bank account, doesn't come out of his. And it's so easy for him to say, sure, because he gets paid the exact same. And that's how I felt in that moment. And I felt as soon as that emotion started to rise, I'm like, I'm going to have to talk to you later. I got so frustrated. I was talking to Hang, got angry. And, Hang's always going to support me. And as she was listening, it got me even angrier because I was talking about the situation. Coincidentally, it was just time for me to go to my osteo appointment. And as I was thinking about it, I got even more angry. I just wanted Nelson to feel the hurt. All I was thinking about was, how do I punish this guy? And I thought to myself, what would a good leader do? What would a good leader you see in a movie do? Would they express their frustration, anger, swear at them, berate their team? Or would you see like a good coach? If you guys have watched Ted Lasso, an amazing TV series, definitely recommend it. What would Ted Lasso do? He would say, it's okay, buddy. It's just money. We can make it back. And in that moment, I didn't feel that way, but I asked myself, how do I get there? I knew that was the right thing for me to do, but how do I get there? And as I was driving, I was trying to process. I'm like, how do I become that leader? And when I got to the osteo appointment, he's a buddy of mine, Ed, and he's also a business owner. And of course, I don't want to be angry at him. And so when I was talking to him, I was very calm. And as I was talking, I walked myself through the answer, which was, well, I obviously can't punish him. I don't want to dock his pay. I don't want to be that type of person. So the only thing I need to do is just move on. And that kind of made me a bit angry on the inside as well, because I don't even want to put that burden on him to explain to him what the situation is, of how much this would cost the business and all that. I'm like, that's not his job. That's not his responsibility. That's mine. And when you speak like that to your team, they feel bad and they're going to feel like they're walking on eggshells. They're going to feel like everything they do is wrong. And I don't want my team to feel that way. And so I realized that this is the burden of leadership, that I have to wear this. It's why the offer owner gets paid the big bucks. You separate those emotions. And once I understood, what helped me understand actually, I want to unpack that for you. I actually thought, this is how I process my decisions. I thought about, what if I were to just change one variable? Would it change how I feel? And that variable was, if I had $10 million in the bank account, would I still feel the same way? And the answer was no. And so was it really Nelson that I was angry about? Or was it the fact that I'm not in the position that I ideally would like to be, the position of abundance? And this just came off like a really big month. And so from Nelson's perspective, like, hey, we're doing well. A refund is not going to hurt. And the truth is, it won't. It will make zero measurable difference to how I live my life, how I eat, how I sleep, how the team operates, none of that. But after these big months, we're heading to a new bottleneck, a new challenge to overcome. And so I was prepared for the next 2 months for us to kind of break even. And so not only are we not breaking even, we're going backwards. And I realized that was me being frustrated with myself and the situation, not him. And sometimes we want to just take it out on people. We want people to feel that hurt because it makes us feel better. And being able to rationalize all this in a matter of maybe like 30 to 45 minutes, after my osteo session, I immediately called Nelson. I apologized to him. I said, Nelson, you're a good dude. You did everything right. I don't want you to ever feel like you were punished for doing something that was moral and ethical. banks have these processes and procedures. They also have red tapes and politics, and it also becomes dehumanized. And so what we learn from these bigger corporations and establishments is having these processes, which is great, but we don't have to copy everything. And I think what makes us different is our human nature. And I encourage Nelson that if he were to be in a similar situation, for him to do the same thing, but to not make those executive decisions because it's not his position, but do what he feels is ethically and morally aligned every single time over a procedure. And we will deal with it and figure it out. And I knew that that was what I needed to do to be a better leader, to regulate my emotions. And then 2 days later, we had a team meeting and I apologized to everyone. They didn't have to know about it. I could have just chosen to hide it, but I don't want to be that person. I shared with them that in this line of work, because we haven't baked out every single procedure, we're going to deal with weird and difficult clients and new situations all the time. But if they're ever in a position where they have to make a split-second decision, one where it aligns with the morals or one where it aligns with the process, choose the morals. We'll figure it out. And I think things like this, 1, being able to regulate the emotions, 2, acknowledge when you're wrong, 3, move the team forward and be transparent, ties into clear communication. I think that was a defining moment for me of who I was as a leader or who I'm going to be as a leader and the temperament, because Nelson's such a value asset. I never want to lose him or anyone else in the team. And so you have to treat your team with love and respect. The next is your daily habits. Non-negotiable number 4, your daily habits. These are the things that you do every single day for your personal development. This is very important because when you stop growing, you stop learning. And when you stop learning, you're limited by what you can teach your team. And these are the non-negotiables when you look at yourself in the mirror and you ask yourself, could I be better? Now, it's not better for yourself, but it's actually better for the people around you. Because when you are happy with yourself, you can then spread happiness into your circle, into your team. But if you're not happy with yourself, there are decisions that you're not making. There are commitments and promises that you're consistently breaking every single day. How can you bring that happiness into your team? So you have to work on your own personal development to make yourself happy. And in the process, those lessons are the ones that you can skill transfer. And when you think about buying a present for a loved one, would you scrunch it up and throw it at them and say, that's your present, that's all you deserve? Or would you wrap it up, make it look beautiful and hand it to them? You are that gift to those around you. Everything that you have ever gone through and everything that you have learned is a gift to those around you. Your presence, your company, the connection, the lessons that you learn, that is the gift. You have to be the best version of yourself for them. And being a leader, you have to be on the forefront. You're not leading from the back, you're leading from the front. You're the pinnacle of the spear. You're not the one throwing the spear. You have to be the sharpest, leading the way. Because that whole spear can be rock solid, but if that tip is blunt because you didn't sharpen it, how can you lead the charge? So daily habits, whatever it is, waking up on time, daily journaling, exercising, mindset stuff, meditation. If you guys like, let me know. I can do a whole episode on my recommended personal development habits that have led me to being where I am today. And if you guys actually watch any of the old podcasts, you see that I look different in terms of my hair, in terms of my skin. My skin has made a huge difference over the last year or so. I actually put in a lot of effort to look after myself now because I have to. That includes why I compete, why I invest in this environment, in this office setup, leading from the front. And last and not least, non-negotiable number 5 is edify your team. Treat them like gold. Being a leader is being the unsung hero. It's not about command or authority or directing them. It's about bringing out the best in everyone. It's actually a support role. And whatever projects that you guys work on together, edify your team. I remove all credit on everything that we do in the team because you don't need that credit. Your team will know who's contributed to the overall outcome. But when you bring out the best in your team and you do it from an authentic place, a genuine place, you bring out a side of them. And they feel good when they're around you. Just like in a relationship, it's not about what you bring or how much money you have or how good you look or how funny you are. None of those things matter. Those things are external. But what really matters is how they feel about themselves when they are around you. Really think about that. If you make your partner feel valued, beautiful, smart, and intelligent, and they are the best version of themselves, and you empower them and encourage them to be the ultimate version of themselves, why would they leave you for anyone else? That feeling is priceless. But what you look like, how much money you make, all those things can always change. So your job is to always bring out the best in your team and the people around you. And treat them like gold. Treat them like family. Invest the time to listen to them. Listen to their problems. Sometimes you don't need to solve their problems. Sometimes you just need to listen to what their problems are. Be there for them. Show that you're willing to carve out your time to hear them. Remember their stories that they tell you. And something that's really powerful, this is a pro tip. Don't use this as a strategy, but I do this all the time. I always like to notice little nuances about people. And when I first interact with them again, after maybe not talking to them for a couple of days, sometimes in my team, I might not talk to them for a few weeks. You highlight something that you noticed. And it just makes them feel good because you're busy, but you still carved out a portion of your memory and mental capacity to put them there. It makes them feel valued. You know, someone gets a haircut. It's like, hey, I noticed you got a haircut. Hey, I noticed you got this. Hey, I noticed on the last time that we spoke, you said this, this, and this. How's that? That goes such a long way. But of course, the difference between manipulation and influence is always the intention. So make sure your intentions are pure. And I do that authentically. Those are the 5 non-negotiables. And what happens when you execute on these non-negotiables? You start to build self-trust. And self-trust is the foundation of all leadership. When you trust yourself, you can speak with conviction. You can speak with confidence. My team asks me all the time, I'm sure you guys might be wondering, how do I speak with such conviction? It's by doing the things day in, day out. This is my objective reality. This is my truth. If you tell me the sky is anything but blue, I will argue until my face is blue because that is my reality. And this, the things I'm teaching you and sharing, this is my reality. I've gone and I've lived it. I've made those mistakes. These are the things that I've learned through trial and error. I wouldn't talk about something that I'm not sure of. And same thing with leadership. Don't make a decision that you're not sure of. If you don't know, say you don't know. I love accepting feedback from my team. I love giving them the opportunity to run with ideas. If sometimes we're 50-50, and unless I am certain on what the outcome should be or what the option, I'm like, let's just roll what your idea is. Give them an opportunity because you create a feedback loop that when they suggest an idea, that idea comes to fruition, that fruition leads to an outcome and it teaches them that they are competent, they're able to think for themselves. But if you shut them down, you create a feedback loop that when they speak, they're not heard and they're incompetent. They start to second guess all their choices. And so you want your team to be able to take your responsibilities off your plate. But if you're always going to be breathing over their neck, micromanaging, you never give them that space to be able to grow, how are they ever going to be able to build those skills? You have to be okay that they're not going to be as good as you. But the truth is, you're not actually good at everything either. It's just a matter of time. And so you got to ride it out. So for me to build my sales team, I had to learn to take a step back from sales, which means that I have to be okay with the business not making as much revenue. They just need to take the 50 to 100 calls. And I need to be a better leader to guide them. And maybe I don't have the tools I need, which is why I invested into a sales coach. 1, to improve my ability to sell and communicate, but 2, to be a better sales manager. That was $30,000 for 12 calls. It's a big investment. I'm also investing the time, effort, and energy for the calls that they might not be able to close that I might be able to. But if I'm going to always take those calls, I'm always going to be the bottleneck. So I had to remove that bottleneck. Right? Give them that space. And now the team is actually teaching each other. Everyone has roles and responsibilities it's an absolute riot. It's a party. They're actually a part of something that was considered like a friendship group. It feels like a friendship group. They get to be them and express themselves, but also have the option and the opportunity to really grow and make measurable change. And being a leader is not about changing directions. It's actually just doing the boring stuff on repeat. And that's where the confidence comes into play. So those are the 5 non-negotiables. Number 1, never ask your team to do something that you wouldn't otherwise do. Number 2, clear communication, expectations, including SOPs. Number 3, emotional regulation, which is having empathy and listening and learning and loving your team. Number 4 is having your personal daily habits, making sure that you are prioritizing yourself, making yourself happy first. Number 5, edify and love your team. Make them feel good. Make them feel happy being there. Bring out the best in them. And if you do those things, you will build an amazing team. So question for you is, what are the 5 things that you're going to commit to no matter what? You can post on your story, tag me, DM. That creates accountability. That is it. Closing notes. I'm working on this landing page for this new offer, Rising Tide. I'm actually very excited to present this to you. This is an uncomfortable period. Hope you guys enjoyed this, by the way. Hope you guys like the dual camera. We're going to be posting this on YouTube as a replay as well. So should you guys want, you'll be able to. Hope you guys enjoy catching the sunrise with the rising tide. That is it for today. And I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.